All right, everybody, so welcome back to another episode of Colton Posey Fishing. So today we're going to be talking about spinner baits and cold water fishing. Okay, there's one thing that I want to get, to you guys is no matter what time of year it is, there is going to be fish living shallow. There's going to be fish living deep, okay? A lot of the bigger fish that we've caught so far this year during the winter has been in shallower water. And the reason that I think that is a lot of these fish, they hang around their spawn areas. If they're not getting caught and carried to a weigh-in, I mean, I'm pretty sure the fish that he caught today was one that I caught twice earlier in the year. I think you may have done caught him one time, or somebody else has done caught him one time. I mean, it's just the fish hadn't been taken out of here. And I just think they live in those areas, year round. That 6.5 that I caught, a buddy of mine, when I did the fluke spring hello summer video, that I'm almost positive that same fish blew up on his fluke. So there is always that population of fish that live shallow, always that population of fish that live deep. And a lot of times during the winter, that Double Colorado Spinnerbait is a great technique to use to catch those fish that are shallow. So stay tuned, it's something you don't want to miss. All right, guys, so talking about the bait in particular, this is the Booyah. This is just the Booyah Double Colorado Spinnerbait. This is one that I've used for years. I mean, I've got a lot of confidence in that Double Colorado specifically. Just the brand, everything about it, okay? I typically like the War Eagle, but I like the Booyah because it's got the smaller Colorado blades. Typically stick to super simple stuff. White and chartreuse is just a good year-round color. But there's a couple techniques that I really like to use during the winter. The very first one is when you throw that bait out there, especially if you're fishing like right off a drop-off or something, I will actually let that bait sink, okay? And as I let that bait sink, I'm gonna use it like I did that underspin, or not underspin, the tail spinner. I'm gonna pick that bait up and drop it, just like I'm jigging that bait. I'm gonna do it slow. And a lot of times, fish that are sitting right off those ledges will eat it just like they eat a jigging spoon. They'll hit it on that pickup or either on that drop. And, a lot of times targeting those fish that are in the middle of the channel or sitting right off ledges and stuff, that's a great technique to use, especially fish that are sitting in the middle of the channel, because those fish, they're not seeing, the spinnerbait a whole lot. They're seeing, underspins and tail spinners and jigging spoons and stuff like that. But the spinnerbait is something that they typically see when you're throwing it up against the bank. But you can fish this bait deep, and it's awesome like that. But let's talk about shallow fishing. 99% of the time when I'm shallow fishing, I'm going to throw that bait up shallow, right? And then I'm just going to slow roll that bait, okay? I'm talking about just crawling. Now, if you get up in some like dead grass or something like that and you start feeling those ticks, typically what I like to do, I like to keep reeling really slow through the grass, and you will know if the grass gets hung up on your blade or something. But let's just say in this instance, I got some grass on my blade. I will pop that bait, let it flutter back down, and then slow roll it again. And I'll do that as many times as I need to try and get that grass off of it. But sometimes that little subtle pop can key you in on a little pop or something that you need to do during the winter to catch those fish on a spinnerbait. Now, there is one thing in particular that I like to do from time to time, but not a whole lot. If I feel like the water is a little bit, stained. Now, I'm not talking like where I need like a river rat or something with that orange kicker, but I may have a foot of visibility. Typically, I'm going to take this bait and I'm going to put something like a Rage Swimmer or something on the back of it as a trailer. What that does, it just creates more vibration in the water. With that more vibration, it just makes the fish a lot easier to find that bait. They feed off their lateral line. That's one of the things that you'll notice if you fish a lot of muddy water. You'll be very surprised, especially if you have forward facing sonar, if you watch these fish, how far you can be away from them in muddy water, and they will actually run over there and get that bait. It's like they can see it from a lot further than you can. I don't think it's necessarily they can see it, they're feeling it off that lateral line. But either way, super simple. you know, that slow cadence reel, that jigging. You're going to catch a lot of fish doing that. And one of the biggest things, obviously, is your setup. What I suggest is, you know, I wouldn't go anything over a 7'3", and then I'm running the medium heavy. This is the Impulse rod. Lance's Fight had this rod for years. It's a 7'1" medium heavy fast action rod. It's a great spinnerbait rod, great Texas rig rod, just a good all-around, all-purpose rod. It'll do you just fine on spinnerbaits. 7.3 to 1 gear ratio reel. You know, you really need to slow down this time of year. So if you have a bad problem slowing down, go to a slower gear ratio. If you don't want to buy, you know, a slower gear ratio reel, then, you know, just practice in your mind saying slow down, slow down, slow down as you reel that bait. And I promise you'll catch a lot more fish. But 15-pound fluorocarbon is going to be my go-to. Whether I'm deep or shallow, it doesn't really matter. I want that 15-pound fluorocarbon. If you're getting a lot of short strikes, okay, and you're not getting those bass in the boat, you're yanking the bait out of their mouth, slow down a little more and keep reeling once you feel that bite. Now, if you still have issues, go to monofilament. Monofilament's got a lot more stretch in it. When you get bit, that stretch is going to allow you to initially, when you set the hook, it's going to give those fish a little bit of give. It's a lot easier to get the hang up, get the fish in the boat, the whole 9 yards. They're cold, so once they come up out of the water, they're chilling anyway. So, you know, either way, guys, if the video helps you at all, make sure to like, subscribe for more content. I got you covered when it comes to anything bass fishing. Comment down below if you have any questions, anything to add. I love talking fishing with you guys. Make sure to check everything out in the description. As always, everything will be linked. So I'll see you next time.